going back to the Doval thing. We talked about it a little bit, but what did you think about that move this late in the season and without really having somebody ready to step in? It's not like this was Mariano Rivera stepping in for John Wetland or, Frankie Rodriguez stepping in for Troy Percival. This was, you have a closer. He's been your closer all year long. You get super frustrated with him and you dump him, and then you turn it over to like a solid seventh inning guy who's now throwing the ninth inning.
You had to do it. And I said that after that blown save and that 3-run home run. I think I texted our Giants chat group and I said, man, he has options left. He's young. He's struggling to find the zone. He's struggling just to throw strikes. I don't even want to see him at that point. I didn't even want to see him come in the seventh inning in a tight game. And you're not going to leave him on your roster to be Luke Jackson, who comes in to pitch when you're down, 5-1. I didn't. He needs to work on his mentality. I think he needs to work on his. I love to say this phrase, intestinal fortitude. It's one of my favorites. But you can't really do that at the major league level when you get demoted from the closer role to a setup role, or not even a setup role, a mop up role. We have enough mop up guys. I don't want to see Doval do that. I want to see him go down, get right, get nasty, come back with a nasty attitude. I'd love to see him come back. I mean, I'd love to see him come back and just be that lights out ninth inning guy. Here's the question though. Has he ever been the lights out ninth inning guy? Have you? I know I haven't. Have you ever been super comfortable when he comes in to a ball game since he's been in the majors?
No, and I would say last year was maybe the most that I felt confident, and it kind of felt like he was just improving and he was adding stuff that was nasty. And this year it was like he was corporate Wild Thing for Major League 2. He was just like, maybe feeling himself a little bit.
Yeah.
Throwing, not wanting to throw the fastball necessarily, or maybe not trusting the fastball as he has in the past, and pinching, kind of going after corners and segments of the plate and the strike zone and stuff. My hope is, okay, here's another question. Would this have happened under the Kapler Zaidi watch? Or would they have just stuck with him? Or would he have not fallen off like he did under their watch?
I think he would have fallen off under their watch, and I think it's because of the ad. He's Brian Wilson light, right? I mean, Brian Wilson would walk guys.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson would give up a hit, but he would nut up and bear down, and you could see it on his face. He wasn't going to let the next guy beat him. Camilo gives up walks, gives up a hit, and then I'm not quite sure what he's thinking by looking at his face out there, and then he'll throw 2 balls, and then you're like, I mean, the expression is exactly the same, which is, I guess, you want that from your closer, right?
Tranquilo Camilo, that's what they would call him.
You want some chill, but you also want some fire. You want some pissed off. You want some Papelbon, right? I mean, you want that, like, I'm not happy I just walked that guy to lead off the inning. F the next 3 guys. I'm going after them. I'm throwing strikes. They want to beat me, hit my stuff. I'm not seeing that from Camilo. I don't think there's anybody else on the roster that we have. I mean, Sean Jelly would be kind of fun as a closer.
That's an interesting one. I like that one.
Yeah, I would like that because he's got that. He's got that FU in him. I mean,
I don't think they would do Hicks because it would kind of undo all of the stuff that they've done this year to get him ready to throw more innings.
But what if Hicks stepped up and said, "Let me do it"? You got to let him do it, right? Because if somebody steps up, puts their chest out and says, "I'm going to do this. I want to get us to the playoffs. I want to close out ball games, and I can do it." You kind of got to let him go.
It's kind of interesting that they didn't go with Taylor because he's done it before, but it doesn't seem like Melvin really trusts him to pitch beginning. So he
Yeah.
did, he's kind of been pitching in the 7th and the 8th a little bit more. Ryan Walker, great. He's kind of funky, but I've never seen him as like a stopper. I don't think he's got the stuff to be someone who just shuts the door. I think he's kind of funky like a Tyler Rogers in that sense, because he's
Yeah,
got that
and
crazy slider and he kind of comes from a different angle. But yeah, he also doesn't have that like shutdown mentality either. So I don't know if, it seems like he's going to be the guy, but I imagine there will be scenarios where Taylor might get an opportunity, or Tyler might get an opportunity based on the
Tyler's
situation.
done it, right?
Yeah.
He had like 11 to 15 saves back in, I want to say 21, 20, somewhere in
Is
there.
that Mac
21.
Cheese time frame?
I think it was Mac Cheese time frame, because Mac Cheese wasn't cutting it. And then, they were like, hey,
or maybe he was cutting it.
maybe he was
The Mac
maybe
Cheese.
he was full of Gene Machi. But the other day when Ryan Walker got that save, I think it was Saturday, I was watching that and I go, he did the same thing Camilo does. It was like walk, single, and then, or no, I think it was single, single. And then he got some outs. And then if it wasn't Javier Baez at the plate hacking wildly, I'm not sure he gets that save. So that's where I'm still kind of like, who is the closer?